Before we dive into today's super fascinating video, a quick update on my previous recording. I don't know if you have noticed how quickly Mike Sonko has changed tune. Well, I have. Very briefly, before Mike Sonko, the Nairobi governor, was breathing fire through his lawyer, threatening to sue the Star newspaper. And then hours later, now he's saying he doesn't mind fake stories. Fake stories will not affect his performance. It will not even affect his family. They're used to it. Could it be that Mike Sonko took in the Kumekucha videos and realized that there may be a trap being laid for him? I don't know. But he has definitely backed off. Now, there's one other quick issue. A lot of commentators on my previous video assumed that Sonko had made the threat directly. He didn't. He made it through a lawyer. And while we all know that lawyers are greedy all over the world, no lawyer will sit down to write a letter to a media house unless they have their ducks in a row, unless they know that there are legal grounds to sue. Now, Cecil Miller is a very competent lawyer. Last time I checked, he knows his law. And that's all I have to say about that. Now on to today's very fascinating, super fascinating video. A lot of people on this channel have shown me very clearly that they have no idea what the deep state is. And many other comments, from people who have an idea, clearly display loopholes in the understanding of people. My sincere apologies, because it is my work, I believe, to make things crystal clear to you. I should not leave you with doubts, with questions. My shows should be complete. The challenge, of course, is that very many different various people from all walks of life take in these videos. From those who think they're intellectuals, to the simplest people who have very little schooling. So I have to meet everybody at some middle ground, so that I don't leave anybody behind. Now, because of this, I want to focus this video on a very fascinating topic. To understand anything, you have to go right back to the beginning, the foundation of it. And the foundation of the deep state in Kenya involves a 28-year-old. Now, I vividly remember when I was a 28-year-old. I didn't know much, but I thought I knew everything. And more importantly, I had not discovered myself, the real me. And I'm sure many of you older members of this channel have your own story to tell of what you used to be when you're 28 years old. And for sure, it is not the age where you should put somebody in charge of making decisions for the deep state. In other words, giving a 28-year-old the responsibility to play God, literally. God with a small g. Very fascinating stuff. Now, just before we dive into it, I'd like to make an announcement. I have a very special gift, a surprise, a gift of high value for you at the tail end of this video. So stick around to discover what it is. Right. Now, I'm not going to bore you with any history lessons. So don't get scared. I know many people on this channel hate history. But the truth of the matter is that a building can never escape its foundations. So when you understand the foundations of the deep state in Kenya, you will understand exactly what's going on today. Now, at independence, our intelligence service, of course, was headed by Mzungu, colonialists. And already the Kenyan intelligence service had proved itself to be very capable, in fact, more than capable. I will give you a quick example. The intelligence service in Kenya had managed to infiltrate the dreaded Mau Mau. That is how Dedan Kimathi was captured. Somebody within the Mau Mau, people who had taken terrible blood oaths, never to betray each other, betrayed Kimathi and betrayed the freedom movement. Now in 1960, that was before independence, the intelligence service in Kenya recruited a young 22-year-old. At the time, most Africans, of course, were not educated. Hardly educated. So they were very lucky to find a very well-educated young man who had gone to Alliance High School, the famous Alliance, and ultimately had ended up qualifying with a diploma from Makerere University in Uganda. This young man's name was James Kanyotu. And Kanyotu entered the police force as an inspector of police grade 1. The same rank my late political lecturer entered the police with. Now in those days, to be an intelligence officer, you had to be a cop, a policeman. Now talk about being at the right place at the right time. Because at independence, or rather shortly after independence, the colonialists handed over the intelligence, the head of the intelligence, to an African. His name was Bernard Hinga. And Hinga took the young man who had been trained and groomed by the colonialists as his deputy, Bwana Kanyotu. And shortly after that, in 1965, President Jomo Kenyatta, the founding father of the nation, decided to appoint Bernard Hinga, who was from his own home county, Kiambu, as police commissioner. And in Hinga's place, as head of intelligence, as head of the Directorate of Security Intelligence, or Special Branch, as it was called in those days, was appointed James Kanyotu. He was only 28 years old at the time. Just to remind you, we're talking about the deep state. Now you'll agree with me that the decisions a 28-year-old, or somebody in his early 30s will take, are not of the same quality as the decisions a 50-year-old or 40-year-old, a seasoned veteran, will take. Customarily, young people in a hurry, they want instant coffee. They want things to be done quickly. Now, when you look at it this way, you will understand some of the decisions that were taken in the 60s and 70s, including one of the biggest intelligence operations this region has ever seen. I'll talk about that a little later. But the assassination of Mboya, and the massacre of Kisumu on October 25th, 1969, as well as the assassination made to look like a road accident of a man called Agwambo in early 1969, are examples of deep state operations during that time, under the leadership of James Kanyotu. Now, fascinatingly, James Kanyotu remained the chief spy, Kenya's chief spy, from 1965 until 1991. And in all those years, there were very few people in Kenya who knew what James Kanyotu looked like. One of the few people, of course, was my late political lecturer, who knew him personally. Always used to refer to him as James. And no newspaper in Kenya, or even abroad, had a photograph of James Kanyotu. Believe it or not, this guy was a real spy chief. In fact, Kenyans got a glimpse, the first glimpse of what he looks like, in the late 90s, when he was forced to appear before the Goldenberg Commission, the Commission of Inquiry, looking to the Goldenberg scandal. And to be fair to Bwana Kanyotu, this guy, although he came into the post when he was very young, this guy knew his stuff. No doubt about that. He was very good at what he did. This is in spite of the youthful decisions, in my view, that were taken at the time, which I've just talked about. In Africa we say that young men just look at the bushes ahead, but an old man looks far into the horizon, long term. Still, James Kanyotu was good, and I'll give you a few examples, concrete examples to prove he was very good. In 1971, many of you will not know this, there was an attempted coup to topple the government of Jomo Kenyatta. It involved high-ranking officials in the military, But of course you've never heard of that coup because it never took place. It was nipped in the bud. Those involved were arrested Others were relieved of their posts before that coup could happen. And who saved the day? James Kanyotu. Again, in 1982, on July 30th, 1982, James Kanyotu urgently approached the head of state then, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, and revealed that there was a coup about to take place. And he recommended that the president authorizes the arrest of the Kenya Air Force people involved. Now, those who know Moi will know that he hated taking quick decisions. He really hated it. And so, Moi convinced Kanyotu to wait until Monday. And Kanyotu had to listen to his boss, although his instincts told him these are not things you wait. And the attempted coup actually took place on Sunday, August 1st. So the big question here is, how did Kanyotu know? Well, I'll reveal that secret today. Now, one of the things that the colonial intelligence officers were very good at was planting spies in strategic places. And it appears that this is something Kanyotu had learned very well. And that's how he knew that there was a coup in 1971 being planned. And it was nipped in the bud before it could actually happen. In later years, Kanyotu planted spies at the University of Nairobi. And they were mostly undetected, in fact, completely undetected. However, it's interesting that after he left his post, things went haywire. University students could quickly recognize and suspect spies amongst them. So clearly, those who came after him were not as good as Bwana Kanyotu. Now, there's an interesting aside here that I cannot resist. There was a training which my late political lecturer attended abroad. And in that same training program was James Kanyotu. That's how they met, and he got to know him. And on the same program was another very interesting character called James Mungai, a relative of Jomo Kenyatta, and for many years the provincial police boss of the Rift Valley, based in Nakuru. We really used to bully Moi during the Kenyatta days. I've talked about him before on this channel. Just to remind you, when Moi was being sworn in, after the death of Jomo Kenyatta, James Mungai was in a vehicle speeding towards the Ethiopian border. Scared to death. Because the person he had derided, the person he had bullied, the person he had humiliated in the worst way you can imagine, was now suddenly president of Kenya. Anyway, my political lecturer felt that he knew James Kanyotu very well. And that is why when the Goldenberg scam broke out in the 90s, where millions, actually billions of Kenya shillings had been siphoned off from public coffers, in a scandal that involved people like Kamlesh Patni, when my political lecturer heard that actually James Kanyotu was a director of Goldenberg International, the firm at the center of this scandal, he couldn't believe it. And my political lecturer went to the grave, still pleading James' innocence, Kanyotu's innocence. He said that Kanyotu must have been framed. He had great respect for Kanyotu. He said that Kanyotu was very principled. And so I wonder what he'd say today, after all the can of worms in Kanyotu's life have come to the surface. And they've come to the surface in a most fascinating way. You see, there's a fight, which I believe is still going on, for James Kanyotu's estate, which is valued, wait for this one, which is valued at 20 billion Kenya shillings. The man even owns large tracts of land in South Nyanza, in a place called Kaboch. Now, of course, there are very big question marks, as to how the head of the intelligence would have owned land, vast tracts of land, acres and acres, enough to be classified as a county, in South Nyanza. Now, Kanyotu was married to 3 wives, and there's a squabble which has been going on in courts, in Kenyan courts for years, still ongoing. At one point, things got so serious, that everybody in the family had to go through a DNA test, to prove that actually they were related to Bwana Kanyotu, because all kinds of people came out of the woodwork, claiming a share in his estate, and even some of his children. Some of the children within wedlock of the three wives were found to have different DNAs. Meaning that walikuwa watoto wa nje. Gosh. Anyway, the long and short of all this is that you cannot talk about the Kenyan deep state without mentioning the name of the founder, James Kanyotu. By the way, one of the biggest challenges the young Kanyotu faced as early as 1965 was the fact that the American CIA actually had a full-blown agent within the Kenyan cabinet. Now. If you want to define tricky problem, this is one tricky problem. Because this is a superpower. And within your cabinet is a spy, or rather an agent, from their chief foreign intelligence organization. But somehow Kanyotu overcame that as well. That's why he was dreaded, he was feared, and he was greatly respected amongst the intelligence community in the region and well beyond. Now, it's time for me to announce my special gift to all you lovely subscribers of this channel. And it is a gift and a half. It is titled Mboya. It was more than an assassination. This is a documentary I've done, and most of the parts of this documentary have been available only to Club 1999 members. Well, today, that documentary is available to all you lovely people out there, including the very sensitive parts that until now have been away from public domain. Now, I've included a link in the description area below, and I've also included another link on the top left-hand corner at the end of this video. Now, Mboya, of course, is the most important political figure in Kenya. You cannot understand Kenya without understanding his life and why he was assassinated. However, more importantly for our purposes right now, this video will open your eyes as to what the deep state actually gets up to. You'll understand the deep state in Kenya completely. This documentary even reveals the person who actually pulled the trigger to end Mboya's life. It was not Nahashon Jenga, the person accused of the crime and convicted for it. It wasn't. It was somebody else Kenyans know very well. And this is going to be a real shocker for most of you. A lot of what is in this documentary is still highly sensitive. And you will quickly agree with me after going through this documentary. And in case you want to know more, you can subscribe to my weekly intelligence briefings. There should be something on your screens right now telling you exactly what you need to do. Of course, it's not free. It costs about $100 per year. But it is well worth it. Trust me. And of course, it also includes very sensitive information on what is happening in Kenya right now. E.g. the Sonko affair. In relation to the deep state. It is definitely something you cannot afford to miss. If you can afford it. The special gift I'm giving you today of this documentary will also help you understand Kenya the way you have never understood it before. Indeed, anybody who takes in this documentary is never the same again. Because I see a lot of naive comments in our comments area on this channel. People who obviously have no idea. They don't know what's happening. And they probably never will if they don't take in this documentary. And I'm serious. So, enjoy the gift that I've given to you today. May it open your eyes to understand the crux of the problems we face in Kenya even today. And may it help you to completely understand what the deep state is. So that you never need to ask that question again. Or you never need again to say, is the deep state the Mount Kenya Mafia? Knowledge is truly power. Enjoy. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.